In this video, you will learn the rules for adding integers. We know from the last video how to add integers on the number line and with counters. So we know that if we were to add +2 and +4, we would get +6. If we add -2 and -4, we would get -6. Here's what those counters and number line would look like. Now let's make sure we realize what this means. We can create a rule from this basic idea. In both of these problems, we added 2 and 4 and got 6. When we added the positive integers, our answer, our sum, was positive. When we added the negative integers, our sum was negative. So what we can figure out from this is the rule that will work is that we take the absolute values of each number, add them together, and then use the sign that was given in the problem. So for example, the 2 plus the 4 is 6. Both positive integers add up to make a positive sum. Both negative integers add up to make a negative sum. Our situation changes when we have two numbers that have different signs. When we add a +3 and a -5, we end up having -2. When we add -3 and +5, we end up having +2. Let's look at 3 plus -5. You can see from the counters and the number line that we're working against each other. The negative and the positive work against each other. On the number line, it goes two different directions. And in the counters, there are yellow counters and red counters. So some of them cancel each other out. So when we have two numbers that have different signs, we end up subtracting the absolute values. So we could take 5 minus 3, which is 2. Then we just need to figure out if our answer is positive or negative. Well, which one is there more of? Is there more negative or is there more positive? In this case, there's more negative. So it ends up being -2. We can see something similar happening when we use -3 plus +5. In the counters, there are 3 negative counters, 3 reds, and 5 positive counters, 5 yellows. So they're working against each other. 3 of them are knocking each other out. On the number line, they go opposite directions. So we can't combine them. We can't put them together. It can't make a bigger number. It's actually going to subtract. So we'll take the 5 minus 3 again. 5 minus 3 is 2. So we know our sum is going to have a 2 in it. But is it positive or negative? So again, we have to look and see which one do we have more of. In this case, the 5 has a bigger absolute value. There's more positives, so 5. So our answer is +2. So now we can see that our rule for adding integers that are different signs would be that we subtract their absolute values and then use the sign of the bigger number. When I say bigger number, I mean the one with a bigger absolute value. So like in the ones with the 3s and the 5s, if the 3 is negative and the 5 is positive, there's more positives. The 5 is a bigger absolute value. If we are talking about +3 and -5, that 5 is still a bigger absolute value. So there's more negatives. So we have to look at which one has the bigger absolute value. That's what we mean by bigger number. So here are your rules. If you're adding two integers with the same signs, you add them and use the sign that was in the problem. If you're adding two integers with different signs, you subtract them and use the sign of the bigger number. This doesn't just work with integers. The same rules work for when you're adding fractions and decimals too. Now you should know how to add integers. Thanks for watching.